Today, we're answering a burning question that hits close to home for so many of us. How long will this imposter syndrome last? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Tara. I coach busy millennials to turn their hot messes into hot successes so that they can confidently achieve their goals without burning out. So if you're an ambitious millennial who feels overwhelmed and honestly stretched a little too thin, you're in the right place. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Just hearing the words imposter syndrome for me bring back a whole rush of memories and emotions. Sometimes it's that knot in my stomach that I get before I give a presentation or meet someone new at work. Or it could also be that sense and feeling of doubt whenever I have gotten praise from my colleagues or from a boss in the past. Really, imposter syndrome is that nagging voice in your head that keeps you feeling like a fraud, no matter that the fact that there's evidence to the contrary. You just can't help that feeling because of that imposter syndrome speaking that false kind of sense of reality into your head. So back to the burning question. How long does it last? Well, I wish I could give a one size fits all answer, but I'm sure you can guess that there is not one. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, it varies from person to person and honestly from situation to situation. For some folks, it may ebb and flow based on the challenges that they're facing or whatever they're experiencing in the moment. So they may have high moments where they're very confident in their abilities. And then there may be some times where they're facing a specific challenge that has them questioning some things and has that imposter syndrome kind of sneaking in a little bit. For others, I'm on this side here about to tell you, it's a little bit more of a constant companion. So it's like a little sidekick that's there pretty much 24/7. So for me, I've had to learn how to live with it and honestly try to, in some way, shape, or form, embrace it to whatever capacity that I can because it is just a part of my life. So I want to break it down a little bit because I think it's important to recognize that imposter syndrome often flares up in times of transition. That is a great opportunity for imposter syndrome to step on into your life and take up some real estate. So it may be you transitioning to a new job or taking on a leadership role or even just working on a passion project that you've been thinking about. You may find that those feelings of self doubt and questioning yourself are a little bit more intense in those moments. But I think it's important too to remember that they're just temporary at that time. So while they may be a lot in that moment, kind of think about how you've overcome imposter syndrome in the past and recognizing that you're just in that moment right now, but the wave of imposter syndrome will soon recede back. One major factor when it comes to how imposter syndrome shows up in your life is our mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, one where you think that your abilities are just your abilities and you can't really do anything about it, then imposter syndrome is going to have a little bit more of a stronger hold on you. That's just kind of how it is. But if you have more of a growth mindset where you see challenges and struggles as opportunities for learning and for growth, then you're able to have a little bit more control over that imposter syndrome. So your mindset can really make a difference. So shifting your perspective from having a more fixed mentality can really help you take control of imposter syndrome, but also take away the power that it has over you. Hey, I want to take a quick moment to tell you something that I'm just really excited about, and that's the Hot Mess Overhaul coaching program. It's designed specifically for ambitious millennials like you who may feel overwhelmed and out of control, but are still striving for success and want the best out of their lives. In this program, we'll work together to reclaim your time and really just kind of master your daily routines for your success. Will help you reconnect with your purpose and reignite the passion that's within you. and ultimately share some practical strategies that you can implement to better your life, to master your days a little bit better, and overall just to turn your hot messes into hot successes. I invite you to visit tarakermiet.com to sign up or learn some more, or even just schedule an initial consultation to get a little bit more info on what this program's all about. Let's get back to imposter syndrome. Here's the thing, we all hope probably that there's an expiration date, but unfortunately, there isn't. And no matter how much recognition and achievements you kind of rack up in your life, chances are that the imposter syndrome is not just going to completely disappear. It more or less will actually probably show up more as you kind of rise up the ladder or the ranks. So I know, like, my own personal experience in higher education before I started being a coach was that as I advanced in my career, I never stopped questioning whether I should be in that position or not. Like, every time I got a job offer, I was like shocked and surprised because I was like, do they actually know that I am not qualified for this job? Or are they just waiting for me to fail? And that's not really a great way to think about things. I lacked a lot of self-confidence back in those days. And that really held me back from my career, I think. And so I think it's important for us to figure out how to live with imposter syndrome, how to embrace it, um, and kind of know that it's going to be this little trusty sidekick with us maybe forever, and to manage it in a more effective way so that way it doesn't hold us back from our just biggest potential in the future. And hell, I still struggle with this to this day. Like, imposter syndrome, like I said, it is not going away. When I first started this coaching business, I constantly was asking myself, like, who the heck am I to try to be helping others? What if my clients find out that I don't have all the answers? By the way, I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. I realized that the thoughts that I was having, the questions that I was asking myself, were really just my brain trying to protect me from the fear and anxiety that comes with starting something new. And as soon as I started to switch my mindset and really embrace the unknown and the exciting pieces, and to reflect on my own personal strengths, that's when I started to kind of push that imposter syndrome behind me a little bit. It's still there, it's still in my shadow, but it's not standing right next to me, whispering in my ear every single day, which is a huge accomplishment for me, honestly. The first step in starting to kind of live with your imposter syndrome is being able to recognize when it's happening. In those moments, it may sound silly and feel silly, but name it, recognize it, and even say out loud, like, this is imposter syndrome talking to me right now. Because you need to recognize it before you can actually do anything about it. So that's the first step. But then you want to reframe the thoughts that are in your mind. So, for the example that I just shared, I was having those questions of who am I to even try to help another human? And I reframed that thought because I started reflecting on all of the times that I have helped someone else. In my career in higher education, I spent so much time advising students on different things here and there. Maybe career advice, it might have been their time management skills, how to handle their schedules, how to plan an event. I have spent over 15 years advising other people and helping them better their lives in one way or another. So, hell yeah, I can coach other humans. Hell yeah, I can share my talents and skills with someone else because I do have something to share. And that's why I'm here. That's why I started this in the first place. There was a reason why I wanted to start my own business. And I just have to recenter around that to kick that imposter syndrome and those questions and feelings of self doubt a little bit down the line. And I think it's also important to share your experiences with imposter syndrome with others. The thing with imposter syndrome is that pretty much everybody, I mean, I'm not a scientist. I don't know everybody in the world, but I would imagine that everyone has this feeling at some point in their lives where they're questioning whether or not they should be where they are, or if they belong there, or if they earned that spot. We all, I'm sure, have felt it in some way, shape, or form. It may not have been as severe as what I experienced, but it's still there, that lingering question of doubt. And the thing is that even though probably everybody has felt this, we often feel so alone and so isolated in those feelings. And we're also maybe feeling a sense of like shame and sharing that. There is so much power in talking with those that support you, your friends, your family, mentors, coaches, kind of anyone that's in your circle of support. There is so much power in talking to them about your feelings of imposter syndrome. One, because it helps share that experience with someone else. It takes that load off your shoulders a little bit and gives it to someone else to carry as well. But also, for me, it has been huge in building up my own confidence. When I share with my friends or family how I'm feeling about whether or not I should be doing what I'm doing, or if I'm even qualified to do what I'm doing, I have had so many people show up in my life in big, huge ways to support me, to lift me up whenever I was feeling those questions of doubt, to give me actual anecdotal evidence of my talents and abilities, and to remind me that I am qualified, and I am, you know, I do know my stuff, right? So that is so important when it comes to needing the support and sharing that experience with others. And then the last recommendation or thought that I have on this is to make sure that you celebrate your successes. Whether they're big or small, they are worth celebrating. This is why I'm always constantly asking people what their wins were. What was your hot success for the week? Because we are so quick to focus on our faults and our failures and the things that went wrong. But in order to shift our mindset, we also need to focus on the things that went right, because that's what imposter syndrome wants us to do, is to focus on the negative, to focus on the things that would really, if added up, make it truth that we don't belong where we are and that we shouldn't be doing what we're doing. When we're focusing on our successes and the things that we can do, imposter syndrome's it takes a step back, because it's like, whoa now. I guess you are qualified to be here. So that's something that I think is so important, and it's so easy to do. Every day, just list out at least one hot success for the day, so that way you can keep track of all of your accomplishments, and whenever you are feeling those moments of self-doubt, you have something to visit and to kind of go back to build up your confidence a little bit more whenever you need it. Another thing I just really quickly wanted to talk about is how imposter syndrome can often really come from that sense of always wanting to know more, or always feeling like you don't know enough. And that's where I think embracing lifelong learning is so important here, because we can always learn more. There's always something to learn for us in this world, and we just have to take advantage of those opportunities. But I also want you to not diminish the expertise that you already have. You do know a lot, and that's really important for you to sit and stand tall in that truth. But it's also important to recognize that there is just no way for you to know everything. You're human. It's not possible. So, yeah, we know that imposter syndrome is probably never going to go away or stop. And that's just the reality of life. It may not be as intense every single day of your life, but it will probably have a lingering presence. But that's okay, because you have strategies now to really manage it so that it doesn't just stop you in your tracks whenever it does show up at the door. Just remember that you're not alone in this. We're all collectively struggling with our own feelings of self doubt and chaos. And the more we speak up and speak our truth, the more we can work together to accomplish our goals, and to know our value and worth in this world. Well, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I do not take for granted the time that you spend with me each week, and I really do appreciate you being here and just spending a little bit of your day with me. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend who may need to hear it. Until next time, here's to another week filled with more hot successes than hot messes. I'll see you in the next video.